that are non-excludable and non-rivalable. It means your consumption doesn't stop my consumption, and your consumption does not reduce what I consume. Get the two things I talked about here. We call it a public good because it is non-excludable and it is non-rivalable, which means your consumption does not stop my consumption, and your consumption does not reduce my consumption. Non-rivalable means your consumption does not reduce my consumption. Non-excludable means your consumption does not stop me from consuming it. These are public goods. Example is the street light. The street light. So you pass through the street, the light is there. I pass through the street, the light is there. But most of the time, the private sector would not want to provide public good because of the free riders. There's always what we call the free rider problem, which means those individuals who will benefit from what they do not pay for. So it is difficult for the private firm to invest in street lights because they cannot get the money from anyone. Do you get what I'm saying here? Are you here? A street light is a public good. Why is it a public good? It's a public good because it is non-excludable, it is non-rivalable. You passing through the street does not stop me from passing through the street. So you use the light in the street, I use the light in the street. You pay tax, I might not be paying tax. So if I'm not paying tax and you pay tax and the light on the street is done with taxpayers' money, that means I'm a free rider. Do you understand what a free rider is now?
So what if countries don't have taxes?
There's no country without tax. Maybe it's more or less.
Libya.
Sorry, please, we'll not talk about that. I think it's clear the point. So we're talking about a free rider here who is an individual who benefits from what he or she does not pay for. So the private sector business, they won't want to produce goods that people would not pay for because they want to make profit. So because the private sector is not providing street light or public good, we're not going to get enough. So why don't we have street lights in every part of the country? Because it's only provided by the government. But trust me, if street light is being paid for, we're going to have it every nook and cranny of the country because they will get the money back. Do we understand? So under provision of public good is because of the free rider problem. So it is only the government that provides street lights or public goods. These goods are non-excludable and non-rivalry. So the private sector would not provide them because of the free rider problem. And the free rider is that individual who doesn't pay for what he or she is benefiting from. Do we understand why the street light will be provided by the government now?
Yeah.
But most of the time, the government might not be able to do it everywhere. So that is under provision. Do you understand under provision here? It is done by the government, and the government might not be able to, government cannot spend more than their budget. So every year that passes by, government has a budget. So for this year, the Liberian government has its budget. As soon as the budget is reached, it cannot spend more. So it will stop until maybe the next year again for another budget. That's why it is underprovided. Is it clear? So under provision of public good is also a market failure. The third one, information gap. When we're talking about information, we're talking about knowledge about the market. So if there is asymmetric information, which means an individual or someone has more information than another, you and I have to deal with each other. But in the course of dealing with each other, you have more information than I do have. There's a market failure, there's information gap. Like the market for second-hand cars. When there's a used car that you want to buy, the person selling the used car has more information than you, that you're buying it, yes or no?
Yes.
He knows more about his or her car. And he knows if he's going to sell at a price that favors him. So a car looks like a lemon, which in the face is good, but it is sour. It's sour in the mouth. Do you understand the point here?
What is it in the mouth? Sour.
Sour, yeah.
Sour.
Yeah, lemon. You know lemon, right? So the point I'm making is there's information gap. And the gap is as a result of you having more information than I do have. So if you're having more information about what we both have to deal with, there's a market failure. Do you understand that? So that is what we call asymmetric information. Asymmetric information, which means one party has more information than another. If one party has information than another, then there's a market failure. The next one, moral hazard. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
The next market failure is moral hazard. Stop, please. Why do we call it moral hazard? We call it moral hazard because you have taken or you've made a decision that we are going to pay for. So you made the decision, you are supposed to bear the consequence, but someone else is bearing the consequence. As a result of that, can you just stop that already? Now, stop. You have made a decision, as a result of the decision you make, we are suffering for the decision. So it means you become careless, you don't care anymore, because whatever you do, you are being protected from the consequence. Do we understand what moral hazard is here? You made a decision, there's an action from you. You are supposed to bear the consequence, but someone else is bearing the consequence. So that means you can act any way you want to act, because whatever happens, someone else will bear the consequence. It's a market failure. We call it moral hazard. Do you understand moral hazard here? The action of an individual which that individual does not bear the consequence. Someone else bears the consequence. I made a mistake now, and you are bearing the consequence. That is moral hazard. So because I know that you're going to bear the consequence, I can continue to make different mistakes. Do you understand moral hazard? The last one, speculation. Okay, no. Yeah, speculation and market bubbles. When we talk about speculation, it's about different expectations in the market. So most of the time, there's speculation about prices. Oh, prices are going to increase in the future. As a result of that, you want to buy now to sell in the future for profits. Get the point here? It could be assumed that the price of markers will increase in the future, but most of the time it happens in the financial market where we sell shares. So sometimes it could be speculated that the price of shares will increase in the future. So because the price of the shares will increase in the future, you become a bull, sorry. So becoming a bull means you're buying now to sell with a higher figure in the future. So you have an optimistic, you are optimistic about the future, that prices will rise. So you're buying now to sell at a profit in the future. That is optimistic. Then you could be a bear, which means you want to sell now because you're scared, you are pessimistic about the future. So you want to sell now based on the fact that prices might fall in the future. So that's a bear and a bull. I think you understand that. So most of the time in the financial markets, prices are speculated to increase. So if prices are speculated to increase, people want to buy now to be able to sell in the future. Then the market will be flooded with a lot of buyers. So everybody wants to buy. There's pressure to buy. So as soon as the pressure increases, then a lot of people have the products. Now they are willing to sell. So who is going to be the first to sell? So the first to sell might sell at a reduced price. So because the first to sell is selling at a reduced price, the bubble, which has come based on the pressure, busted. That is what bubble burst means. I'm going to say it again. There's bubble burst in the market because of speculation. We start buying more. Everybody start buying because they feel that the price will increase in the future. They can make profit in the future. And as soon as everybody buys, now there's a pressure to sell because nobody is buying, nobody is selling. So an individual will sell first. That person that sells first will sell at a reduced price. You know, the pressure that brings about we buying more makes the bubble. You know bubble, right? The pressure for us to buy more makes the bubble. And as soon as someone sells in that market at a reduced price, the bubble will burst. Because everybody will be willing to sell now. Because when you sell, everybody has bought at a higher price. Now, we want to sell at a reduced price. And the first person has sold at a reduced price. You will be thinking that if you don't sell now, maybe the price will fall further. Do we get it or not?
Yeah.
There is a bubble that continues to be.
If people buy.
Now, one of the sellers sells. As soon as one of the sellers sells at a reduced price than expected, you will be feeling that if you don't sell now, the price might fall further. So everybody's going to sell, then the bubble will burst.